This is Cady Fontana. I'm the Makerspace Librarian at Tompkins County Public Library, and this is part 2 of our figuring out how to make a JPEG into a vector mini-series. So, in the last video, I showed you how to pull in some images and how to start doing some image trace to turn those images from JPEGs into vector, editable, changeable images. So now I'm going to just show you a couple different ways I like to play around with images to make a high quality laser cut. So here we are. I've got the lines all separated and ungrouped. So I'm actually going to just start playing around and deleting out things I don't want. So over here, these are a bunch of different tools we can use. This little filled in white tool is our direct selection tool, and a lot of times when you're working with vector lines, you are going to want to use this tool. So you can see what immediately happened when I chose that tool. All these little dots showed up. So this is basically playing connect the dots, and the image that we are seeing here is all made up of different lines that are shaped using these dots. So the computer generated all these dots for us when we did image trace, which is a really nice feature. You can actually draw like this by hand using the pen tool, which is this one that looks like a little calligraphy pen. But it's really nice not to have to do that and to be able to have the computer do it for us. You can also, if I click on one of these letters, you can see those dots all show up in these different shapes. So that's what's really handy here. So see how this window came through blue, but we wanted it to be white? I can click in that blue window, and I can actually just delete the color right out of that by hitting the delete key on the keyboard. So now it's white. I'm going to do that with this little triangle too. That one took me 2 clicks of the delete key because of what it was deleting once I chose that shape. So you might have to click delete more than once. So what that's doing is it's giving me the option to make these shapes basically see-through, so I'm seeing the white artboard behind them. You can see that, you might be able to see that this outline shape, just everything that's around the logo, is a slightly off-white. I just want to get rid of it altogether. So I'm just going to click into this outline shape. Then I should just be able to hit delete. Yep, so I hit delete, and now it's gone. There's nothing in this space. All that's here is our nice round logo. So I've cut that out, and it's been really easy. I didn't have to eyeball anything. I could just select it, and it's gone. So what if I wanted to change the tone of one of these shapes? If I didn't want this to be blue, I wanted it to be dark black so that I could laser cut it really deep, because the laser cut reads depth of cutting based off of grayscale. So I want to make this really dark, I want to make this really light. How am I going to do that? So if I want to choose everything that is this dark blue color and turn it black, I'm going to just choose one thing that is the dark blue color. So I'm going to choose this main shape. Then I'm going to go up here to the options at the top and choose select same fill color. Okay, so now you can see what happened. All of these got activated because they're all the same dark blue color, which is really handy because now I can hit the delete key on the keyboard, and it got rid of everything that was that dark blue color. That's not actually what I want to do right now, so I'm going to Command Z, and Command Z or Z, that is your undo action, so that takes you a step back. So if you do something and you're like, that's not what I wanted, Command Z and you can just move back to what you wanted. But I've got everything still selected, which is really nice, and I'm actually going to change the color of this all to dark blue. So, from dark blue to black. So to do that, I am going to choose this, which is my fill color. See how it's dark blue? I'm going to double click it. This opens my color picker, and now I can choose black. So I'm just going to go right down here in the corner to a dark black, and then just say OK. So I'm going to click off of it so you can see what happened. So now all of that dark blue is turned black, and it was really easy. I didn't have to do any kind of paint bucket dumping into all these different shapes. It just selected all of them and changed them all that color. So that's a really easy way to do it. So I'm going to do the same thing with this light blue. I'm going to turn it into like a really light gray because I want it to have a little bit of color, but I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to be competing with the black. So I'm going to click that blue, select same fill color. Now it's got all the light blue shapes selected. I'm going to go into the fill color over here, double click, and now I can just move around and pick a gray that looks good to me. So I'm going to do like a really light, bright gray. You can get more persnickety with this. If you have some skills in Illustrator, you could select, like, if that was a 10% gray or a 20% gray. I'm just not that good at it yet, so I just eyeball it, and it has worked out fine for me. I'm sure as I develop more skills, I will do a new video, but not yet. Okay, so I'm going to click off of that. We can see here I've got a black primary line shape. I've got white shining out the windows where the learning is happening, and I have a nice gray mid-tone. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'm lucky that I have this shape that I've saved over here, because I'm gonna use this to create my outline that I can use to cut out the shape. So I'm gonna select everything here by dragging a selection box around it. To do that, you just click, hold down your mouse, and drag a box around everything you want to select. When you release, it'll select it. And so now I will be able to click in the shape and drag it all off the screen. So I'm just going to keep it down there while I work on this other one. I'm going to click this guy and move him in. It's still the same size as my original one. This is really handy. I didn't resize this original shape that I was playing with, and that'll make it so that I will be really easy for me to realign these shapes and get them to line up perfectly for my cut line. Then I can resize them together to any size I want at the end. So here is my shape. I'm going to do the image tracing again. I'm going to go up here to Preset, Silhouette, because I do just want that outside circle. Here's this great circle. That's just all I want. So I'm going to go up here to Object, Expand. Okay. Object, Ungroup. Object, Ungroup. Object. Oh, can't do it anymore. So that's all set. I see that something showed up here, this little line. I don't want that line to exist, so I'm going to go click off of it, then click that line, and then just hit the delete key a couple times, and now it's gone. So now the only line that I should have is just this great circle. This is a lot of steps to do for a circle. You can pretty easily generate a circle with Illustrator, but the same rules apply if I wanted to do a shape, like if I was doing a Pokemon or something and I wanted to outline it and had ears and a little tail or something. Obviously, I'm outlining a Pikachu. This silhouette shape would do the same thing, so you can use these rules even if it's not just a really easy shape like a circle. So over here, I've got my fill color, which is this filled in box, and then I have a stroke. So you can see the stroke. This means none when there's a red line through the white shape. You can see that also right here, none. I actually just want to swap it. I want to have a black stroke and no fill. So I'm going to use these little arrows that say swap, fill, and stroke. This is a really easy and handy tool. Click. All right. So now you can see I just have an outline. This is great. This is all I wanted, was just this outline. So I'm going to click it. It's already selected. And now this is where stroke comes in. So I'm going to go over here to my stroke panel and see how it says the weight. I'm going to change the weight here to 0.001 inch. It's a really small line. It's really thin. If I click off of it, you can hardly see it. And the reason that I did that is because what the Epilogue laser cutter reads as cut this out is 0.001 inch lines. So any line that's in your design that's the weight of 0.001 inch is what the machine is going to use to vector cut that shape. So if you had a whole design that was all had the weight of 0.001 on all of its outlines, it's going to cut out every shape in that design. In this design, I want it to engrave the part that has my company name on it. I don't want it to cut out all these different separate letters, so that's why I'm not giving these that same stroke weight. So I'm going to go ahead and drag a selection box around what I had before. I'm going to drag it up here onto my build plate. I'm going to drag it right overlapping, just a little bit off of my outline. So with this still selected, I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to click this outside circle, this line that I just made. That's my cut path. If you didn't get it all, if you clicked off of it and you unselected stuff, it's not the end of the world. What you would do is you would just drag a selection box starting far off, high up, and making sure you catch everything inside that selection box and then let go, and now you have everything selected. So that's just another way to select everything. Another easy way is to use a keyboard shortcut using the Command A tab. That's select all, so A for all, Command A. So now everything is selected again. So now I should be able to align it. Let's see if this works. Wow, nope, that didn't work. So what happened there is that I have all these different shapes selected, but they're all kind of separate shapes. So it was trying to pile them all in one spot for me, which is not what I want. So I'm actually going to move my path. Oops. Wow. See? You can always undo. So I'm going to move this path. Third try is charm. I'm going to change over here to selection tool instead of the direct selection tool. Yeah, that lets me drag it. I'm going to select everything in this design, and I'm going to go up here to object, and I'm going to group it. So this makes it so that everything moves together as one shape, and it doesn't separate those pieces out anymore. So I won't be able to move around like the O or anything like that, but that's okay at this point. So now I can do the select all again. I'm going to Command A, and then I'm going to go over here to this tab next to transform, which is align, and I'm going to do a horizontal alignment, and I'm going to do a vertical alignment. So you saw what happened there is it walked it so that it is perfectly surrounding the shape. So this is really handy. It makes it so that you don't have to get all fiddly trying to click around and make sure you have that path set up correctly. Like if it was slightly off, it just would make a sloppier print in the end. So using that two options of align horizontal, align vertical just makes it perfect. So now this is actually done being designed, and all I have to do is size it to the size that I want, and then I can just send it to the printer after I save it as a PDF. So I'm going to resize this. I'm going to do that using the Transform tab. You can see here these little chains are linked together. That is a good thing. It means that when we change one side, the other side is also going to change, and it won't get all wonky. If you don't want that to happen, you can click it, and it makes it so that they are disconnected. But I'm going to keep it connected. I'm going to make this a 3x3 little magnet shape. So I'm going to say 3, enter. So now it has made it so that it's 3 and a teeny bit less than 3 width and height. So now I can click this object and drag it up to the corner of my piece of wood so I don't waste materials. I can make a copy and paste of it and have a few of them if I wanted to make a series of these magnets. And you can get pretty close with the cut lines. They don't have to, they don't want to be like touching each other, but just having like a whisper in between, like a millimeter or so, it'll still cut fine. So here's 4 magnets for you. I'm not taking up my whole piece of wood. That's totally fine. You can also use scrap wood, which will save materials, and we encourage that. If you go up to the File, Save As tab, we can save it as a PDF. So I'm going to name it TCPL Logos Magnets. I'm going to save it right to the desktop. That's fine. You could also save it onto a flash drive, which is something that we will have to do to get it to the laser. And I'm going to save the format as an Adobe PDF. I'm sure you've used PDFs before to read documents or to edit things that are in document form. This is what the machine reads. It's a really easy to access and edit type of file, so it's really handy that that's what the laser reads. So just say save. Save PDF. I don't really ever change the settings in there. And now it's on the desktop, so I'll show you. Minimize the screen real quick. And here are all of our magnets. So here's the PDF. You can't really see it in here, but they do have a cut line that we've set that's the correct width. So when I send it to the laser, it will raster engrave the objects, and then it'll come back and it will vector cut them out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, just talk to a library staff member and we'll help you as much as we can. Have a good day.